Long before Hollywood gave us jump scares, ancient civilizations lived with real demons. They weren't just symbols of fear. They were worshipped, feared, and sometimes obeyed. From the scorching sands of Mesopotamia to the towering temples of Egypt and the mystic shrines of ancient Greece, demons played roles far beyond what modern minds can imagine. These weren't just creatures of nightmares. They were guardians of sacred laws, bringers of justice and punishers of sin. In some cultures, they haunted the night. In others, they were summoned for protection. Today, we unravel the truth about these ancient beings and the power they once held over entire civilizations.
When we hear the word demon, we instantly imagine fire, darkness, and evil. But in ancient societies, the concept was far more complex and not always sinister. The word demon actually comes from the Greek term daimon, spelled D-A-I-M-O-N. To the ancient Greeks, a daimon was not a monster but a spiritual force, often acting as an intermediary between gods and humans. These daimones could be good or bad, kind or cruel, depending on their nature and purpose. Think of them as cosmic messengers, delivering inspiration, guidance, or sometimes punishment based on divine will. In fact, the famous philosopher Socrates once claimed he had a personal daimon who guided his decisions, a kind of inner voice or divine companion. Clearly, not all demons were seen as evil. Other cultures had similar beliefs. In Mesopotamia, spirits called Utuku or Shidu could either torment or protect people. In Zoroastrianism, ancient Persia's religious system, Deva originally referred to shining deities. Only later were they rebranded as evil spirits as the religion evolved. These ancient demons were not black and white villains. They were part of a cosmic balance, enforcers of divine order, punishers of wrongdoers, or protectors from unseen threats. Unlike the purely evil demons of modern horror, ancient demons had roles, duties, and even honor. We'll go culture by culture, keeping each demon vivid, informative, and cinematic. Mesopotamia, the cradle of demonic mythology. In the land between the Tigris and Euphrates, where civilization first bloomed, so did the fear of invisible spirits. Mesopotamians deeply believed in unseen forces that control disease, death, fertility, and fate. Lamashtu, the demoness of nightmares. Lamashtu was one of the most feared female demons in ancient Mesopotamia. Depicted with a lion's head, a hairy body, and bird-like talons, she targeted pregnant women and newborns, often blamed for miscarriages or infant death. Unlike many demons who acted on orders from gods, Lamashtu was believed to be independent and malicious. Her cruelty was her own choice. Women would wear protective amulets and recite rituals to ward her off during childbirth. Pazuzu, the wind demon who fought evil. Enter Pazuzu, the demon of the southwest wind. With the face of a lion, wings of an eagle, and a serpent-headed penis, he looked terrifying. But he had a surprising role. Pazuzu was summoned to protect against Lamashtu. Though a demon himself, he was the lesser of two evils, an enemy of plague and a guardian of children. Amulets of Pazuzu were worn not to worship him, but to repel worse forces. Ancient Egypt, demons of the Duat. In ancient Egypt, the afterlife was a journey, and demons were both guides and judges. These beings were often hybrids of multiple animals designed to reflect chaos and divine judgment. Ammit, devourer of the dead. Ammit, also known as the eater of souls, had the head of a crocodile, the torso of a lion, and the hindquarters of a hippo, Egypt's three most dangerous beasts. During the weighing of the heart ceremony, if a person's heart was heavier than the feather of truth, it was fed to Ammit. She didn't torment the soul, she erased its existence. Total annihilation. Ammit wasn't evil, she simply upheld Ma'at, the balance of cosmic justice. Set, god, demon, or something in between? Set, or Seth, was the Egyptian god of storms, chaos, and war. But unlike the orderly gods, Set represented disruption and rebellion. He murdered his brother Osiris, fought his nephew Horus, and was often shown with a strange animal head, part donkey, part aardvark, part unknowable beast. While worshipped in some regions, other texts painted him as demonic, a cosmic villain who brought imbalance. Ancient Greece, shadows of the underworld. Greek mythology gave us heroes and gods, but also eerie figures from the underworld, often misunderstood or outright terrifying. Erebus, the personification of darkness. Erebus wasn't a demon in the modern sense. He was darkness itself, born from chaos. He wasn't evil, but he was primordial, existing before light, before gods, before order. Erebus ruled the deepest shadow of Hades, where even gods hesitated to go. Empusa, the blood-sucking seductress. Empusa was a shape-shifting demoness who seduced young men and drained their blood. Often depicted with one leg of brass and one of a donkey, she served the goddess Hecate and preyed on the living at night. Some say she inspired vampire legends. Hindu, Buddhist tradition. In Eastern philosophy, demons often symbolize inner struggles rather than external evil. Mara, the tempter of the Buddha. Mara isn't a grotesque monster. He's the embodiment of temptation, desire, and fear. When Siddhartha Gautama was about to achieve enlightenment, Mara sent visions of terror, lust, and doubt to distract him. But the Buddha did not fight Mara. He simply watched, unmoved, and transcended. In this tradition, the demon is not defeated by violence, but by understanding. From tormentors of the soul to guardians of justice, these demons were not just symbols of fear, they were part of the spiritual architecture of the ancient world. Each one reveals what that culture valued and feared most. Are they still influencing us? We may no longer build temples for demons, but their influence is far from gone. In fact, they've never left. They've just changed form. Modern horror is built on the bones of ancient mythology. The fear, the names, the rituals, they all echo the beliefs of civilizations long past. Pazuzu, from Mesopotamia to Hollywood. The demon Pazuzu, once feared and revered in Mesopotamia, made his way into the modern world through cinema. In 1973, The Exorcist introduced him to millions as the malevolent spirit that possesses young Regan. But in ancient times, Pazuzu was a protector, a complex spirit, not pure evil. Hollywood stripped away the nuance, leaving only the terror. Valak, the nun. In the Conjuring universe, the demon Valak appears as a ghostly nun, terrifying, silent, unforgettable. But Valak actually appears in ancient grimoires like the Lesser Key of Solomon, described as a child riding a two-headed dragon. Nothing like the twisted nun Hollywood gave us. Still, the inspiration remains, a real name pulled from centuries-old texts, reborn in modern nightmares. Hereditary, the cult of Paimon. In the critically acclaimed film Hereditary, we're introduced to Paimon, another ancient demon lifted from the same magical texts. Described as a king of hell, Paimon rides a camel and is followed by a host of spirits. The film used his mythos to craft a story of generational trauma, cults, and possession, mixing ancient fear with modern psychology. So, yes, ancient demons still walk among us, not in temples or rituals, but in stories, screens, and dreams. The faces have changed, but the fear remains the same.
Across time and continents, demons have taken many forms: monstrous or divine, terrifying or protective, cruel or just. We've seen how ancient societies didn't just fear them, they lived with them, reasoned with them, even honored them. Whether guarding the gates of the afterlife, punishing moral crimes, or protecting the innocent from unseen forces, these beings were never just villains in the shadows. They had purpose, meaning, context. And maybe demons weren't just evil spirits. Maybe they were something more, reflections of the fears, the hopes, and the lessons of ancient life. Because every demon tells a story, and every story reveals what humanity once feared most, and what it still can't explain.